every town and village. And tick it off. Make contacts, sell books, speak to the local police, get permission, do everything. Because we have to become externally, we have to learn kirtan very nicely, all the melodies and everything, and then we have to propagate. And when the devotees have gone through the whole list, say I think the Russians will probably be going through their list first, even though it's the biggest country in the world, because they seem very fired up. Their kirtans are very ecstatic. So, when you've gone through your list, Mr. GBC, then start again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. All glories to Aindra, all glories to Harinam Sankirtan, Srila Prabhupada Sadhu Sangha Ki Jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Mukunda Datta Prabhu, please.
Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. The Rig Veda tells us that saintly persons are always looking toward the supreme abode of the Lord. Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. And Aindra was that kind of person. He always had his priorities very clear, and his priorities were always in the next world. None of us know when we're going, so that's not a bad idea. But we were teenagers together. Anybody know when Aindra was born? What year? Yeah? 56, yeah. So we used to... Huh? Okay, well, close enough. And we used to go out and Sankirtan together on Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan party. And he was always very focused on Kirtan in particular. He really liked Kirtan, always. And he was always very enthusiastic in his own characteristic way. Never really felt constrained by conventions of any sort. He was always very serious, hardcore practitioner of Krishna consciousness. I always appreciated that about him, and he became even more and more deeply absorbed in the same mood as he spent his later years here in Vrindavan. So it's a great inspiration. Srila Prabhupada was never one of the primary members of the Gaudiya Math during the presence of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Some of his godbrothers used to criticize him because he was viewed as an outside or semi-outside person. So, but nonetheless, he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world in ways that nobody could have foreseen, at least nobody did foresee it, and certainly nobody could imitate. And unfortunately, many didn't even appreciate also, out of envy or whatever. So Aindra was actually, he was empowered like this in a similar way, not exactly the same, of course, but somehow or other he had the potency that Krishna gave him this opportunity to popularize chanting Hare Krishna Kirtan worldwide, and particularly among the young people. And in this room, we're still mostly young people here, I'm seeing. So it's going on because what he dedicated himself to was timeless, and that has a timeless appeal across generations and geographic regions and even philosophical persuasions. Kirtan is immediate appealing to the heart, and it seems Aindra knew that, and certainly he had some potency to inspire people to chant Hare Krishna very seriously, and he gave that example right up until the end. So we're fortunate that Aindra took it upon himself necessarily to reinvigorate Srila Prabhupada's standing instruction to hold 24-hour kirtan, at least in Mayapur and in Vrindavan. So he did his part, but it's not that he wasn't always dedicated to the holy name. He just somehow or other, Krishna put him into this position. And it's a great inspiration. We're all should be very grateful for what he did. And it's glorious life that he lived. And on this day, I'm very happy to just say a few words about him and to humbly offer my respects in his memory and pray for a little bit of his mercy that maybe I can also become serious about chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Aindra Prabhu ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari. Next, Shrotakirti Prabhu, please come.
Hare Krishna. I'm about the least qualified person to talk about Aindra Prabhu. Besides not really having any personal association with him. As I passed through my years in Krishna consciousness, I always avoided a few kinds of people. One was those that whatever they did was questionable. You know, you just knew something behind the face, the eyes. The other ones were the very Krishna conscious people, because I was never in that place. He was one of those. So I never approached him because I didn't have that interest in being so Krishna conscious. I had already been with the person that was so Krishna conscious, Prabhupada, So being with him, but what I see, as years go by and twice a year, listening to people speak about him, realize his potency, such potency. And of course, where it comes from. He had no pratishta. He was never interested in making a name for himself. Like Prabhupada. If you want to know about Prabhupada, you have to find out from this person that you can't read his books. And then Prabhupada's talking about himself. He talked about Krishna. Aindra had Vrindavan mellows. It wasn't kirtan by Aindra Prabhu. No. This is where potency comes from. He understood Prabhupada's process. He followed it very strictly. And that's where potency comes from. Just today, we came here late. We had like a 3-hour MVT meeting that I attended. And the whole meeting came to one thing. Is this an ashram or is this just some hotel motel? No, it's very serious. And unless you keep that standard, which is so easy for it to fall apart, just like that. We're seeing it happen as crowds increase. You heard yesterday 23,000 plates of khichdi. That means Vrindavan's being inundated. What did Prabhupada say? The devotees, they bathe in the Jamuna, the Ganga. Why? To purify it from all the sinful activities of everyone else that comes here to dump their sinful activities, the karma from their sinful activities. The pure devotee, he takes bath, he purifies that place. Aindra was so nice. You know, if I can say, sometimes here at the Kirtan, like the boat festival, sometimes you hear everyone chanting, following the leader. Sometimes I can't follow the leader. I never saw that with Aindra Prabhu, that he would chant and you had to learn how to follow him. Because this is what the chanting is for. He knew everything. He did it very, very well. And because of that, he got his ticket out of here much sooner than some of us who have to keep trying and trying. Listening to Rai Ram Prabhu and my godbrothers Dadi Baksha, such an impression that one person can make on others that continues to carry on. But it's very, very important to follow. That was his secret. Strictly following, to serve the holy name. We know, we've heard so much from so many, and it's already late. I guess I have my few minutes here. He was very kind. He restricted himself. But all of us, all of Prabhupada's disciples, they understand this process. And all of you here, you know what to do, what not to do. 50 years, still struggling. What I see, what I enter. He came here, that was it. End of story. He knew his service. When I wrote my book, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj wrote something, and he said, when you are given much, much is expected. We've all been given very much. Some of us are able to take that, what they've been given, and just pass it right on. Pass it right on in a pure way. And I see that was that's what he did. And in this way he's glorious. He'll always be glorious part of ISKCON for what he's done. So that's all I have to say right now. Thank everyone for being here. Govinda Prabhu, very difficult service, carrying on. But we do it. We do it for service. We do it for Prabhupada's pleasure. We do it for Aindra Prabhu's pleasure. And there's nothing more satisfying, as Panchagoda always says to me, what more do you want? We're here chanting in front of Krishna Balaram. Look what we've been given. So anyway, thank you for continuing, all of you who are involved. I appreciate it very much. And Aindra Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So it's 2 o'clock, and you want to keep the schedule, I think. And there's some devotees we couldn't ask to speak. Sorry. If you didn't ask you. Mukundadatta Prabhu will perform the Pushpanjali for all of us. We have some flower petals up in the front. We don't have much for everybody, so don't take too much, please, so everybody can have some. And then we have more kirtan, and once again, prasadam will be at 3 o'clock at the Krishna Hall. Aindra Prabhu ki jai!